He did the ultimate no-no. You don't do that. And he did that, and I'll never take him back. So it's a done deal. He killed it. He did. He really did.
All right, let's be real, guys. If you grow up in a place where love, power, and closeness are all treated like trades, and you're around super grown-up stuff before you even turn 16, how are you supposed to have a good and healthy relationship with someone? Honey, from what people are saying, this is kind of what messed up the relationship between TLC's Chilli and Usher. Like, Usher was always getting caught in some kind of cheating drama, and now folks are saying maybe all of this happened because of what he had to deal with at Puffy's Flavor Camp.
Well, I mentioned that earlier, that he said about Stevie J. The Usher part, that's a touchy situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital.
Okay, so here's the tea. People say that behind the scenes, Chilli has kind of been backing up what Kim Porter already knew, that Diddy maybe put Usher in the hospital after doing something really wrong to young Usher. And now everyone's like, maybe the real question isn't why did Usher cheat? But more like, what happened to Usher, and who let it happen? Like, wow, I really hope you guys are sitting down for this. So here's how it started. Usher and Chilli met when Usher signed with the same music label as Chilli, which was LaFace Records. And yeah, we already know Usher got put under Diddy's wing as his mentor, and when Usher was just 14 years old, he moved to New York to live with Diddy. That's when he had to go through something called Puffy's Flavor Camp. After a while, Usher and Chilli started dating, and during that time, Chilli showed up in a few of Usher's music videos, like You Remind Me and You Got It Bad. But sadly, things didn't work out, and they broke up. In 2004, Chilli went on The Burt Show on Atlanta's Q100 and hinted that Usher cheating was a big reason for their split. She said he did the ultimate no, and that she would never get back with him. In that same interview, Chilli also said that if someone cheats even once, you shouldn't stick around to see if they'll do it again. Basically making it clear that Usher cheated on her. And also, on an episode of VH1's Behind the Music, Chilli recalled hearing rumors of infidelity that she told Usher about, and he even admitted it. She said, "He admitted it. You know, I felt like a fool. I felt like everybody knew something and I didn't, and I'm just now finding out." In fact, in 2013, Chilli was still talking about how she was hurt, and she even told Us Weekly. In any relationship, even when it came to my relationship with Usher, when it was time to make a move, I had to do that. I don't care how much my heart was hurting. Sometimes you're just supposed to be with people for a reason, and it's not always a lifetime. Even if you want it to be, it just doesn't work out that way. But I'll always love him forever, because he was my first adult love, a real love. But we're cool. We're really cool. There's no hard feelings. Nothing like that. It's all good. So, here's what people have been saying for a long time. Whatever Usher went through while staying with Diddy really shaped the way he dealt with love and relationships. And the one person who saw a lot of it up close was Chilli. Because she was there from the start. Now let's be real. Nothing has ever been officially proven. But if even a little bit of those rumors are true, it kind of makes you see Usher's actions in a totally different way. Just think about it. Being a kid thrown into that wild world, maybe being tricked or pushed into super grown-up situations before you were even old enough to understand them. That kind of mental and emotional damage doesn't just go away. It can change the way you love people, how much you trust them, and how you deal with closeness. So when Usher got with Chilli, someone who really cared about him, maybe he wanted to be the right guy for her, but just couldn't do it. Maybe the hurt from his time with Diddy came back to mess things up. Maybe the cheating and being distant wasn't just him being a player. Maybe it was actually pain. And honestly, that pain seemed to follow Usher even after things ended with Chilli. People like Wendy Williams and Dwight Eubanks have even talked about how messy and unhappy Usher's marriage was. They even said he might have been living on the DL.
We know the word on the street regarding that marriage and what it's all about.
Well, it is what it is.
It is what it is. But since you're in Atlanta, you can take us in a little bit more. So what is the word on the street and what that marriage is about?
We're going to hold that for a later date. But what you think you heard is what's on the street.
Okay, so he's how you doing.
Wow. Well,
I'm going to write you a note.
Let's go to a commercial break.
Okay, and when we think about all the stories people have shared about Diddy being on the DL and hooking up with Usher, guys, it just makes the whole thing way more complicated and worse. Like, we even had Jaguar Wright spilling some serious tea about a lawyer who walked in on Diddy and Christopher Williams sharing a private moment. And people say they didn't even stop when they saw someone walk in on them.
He said, yo, Gene, watch the door, don't let nobody come through here. And I said I watched the door. If I watched the door and him and a man ran out naked, and I said that, ain't nobody told me that. I saw that myself. I'm telling you what I saw myself. I'm not repeating nothing that somebody told me.
Then there's someone like Gene Deal who said that he saw a man run out of Diddy's hotel room naked, allegedly.
When she walked in, the door wasn't locked, so she didn't think twice about just walking in. And when she walked in, she saw Christopher Williams performing on Puff.
In addition, Exhibit also once revealed that Diddy treated him to the gayest night of his life. Not my words. What had happened was Exhibit mentioned being single at the time and attending a New Year's Eve party in Florida hosted by Puffy, and he was accompanied by Superhead. He then said that Puff called him outside and told him that Superhead had videotaped him with fingers in the behind, calling her the devil. Then he said that Diddy took them to a club, and while in the club's VIP lounge, Exhibit and Superhead observed two men kissing and another man who was naked. He just said he found that experience suspect and unlike any other club he had been to, despite having been to many. What surprised him even more was that Diddy stayed pretty calm about the whole thing. So what people have been saying is that because of Diddy's past, they wouldn't be shocked if he took advantage of Usher. And you know what? People on the streets are even saying that Usher passed the pain he got from Diddy on to Justin Bieber.
I'm mad that people aren't more mad at Usher because somewhere along the way he went from a victim to a procurer. Like, let's just be honest about Usher. Is he a victim or is he a cooperating agent?
So just like Usher, Justin was about the same age Usher was when he started spending lots of time with 40-year-old Diddy. Diddy was also out here promising him cars and big houses. For some reason they stopped hanging out. And there's even video of Justin looking really uncomfortable when Diddy asked him why he stopped hanging out with him. Well, I've seen reports saying that Diddy and Usher took advantage of Justin, but I'm just sharing what I heard, okay? I haven't seen any proof myself. And about Usher being on the DL, there's also this guy who once talked about how Usher acts, saying that Usher was a little too comfortable at a gay club. What happened was, after Usher performed once, everyone was in Usher's dressing room drinking champagne, when someone came up with the idea that they should go to a club that's when the source claimed the group went to a popular gay nightclub, saying, "We weren't looking for a gay club, it just happened. I mean, most of us were gay, so we just went to a place we knew." Allegedly, Usher struck up a conversation with an older gentleman at the club, and he even explained the situation, saying, Usher was talking all up in this guy's face. I thought the two of them were going to start kissing. At first, I couldn't believe my eyes, but then I thought, this is Chelsea, so anything goes. Then when asked if Usher had a good time, the source said, I know he did. Remember, Usher was also mentioned in the lawsuit against Diddy by Lil Rod. Well, he wasn't exactly mentioned by name, but a redacted excerpt caught the attention of followers because it was clearly pointing to Usher. The lawsuit talked about an artist who performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency. That sure sounds like Usher, right? As for the context in which Usher's name even came up, allegedly Diddy was bragging to Lil Rod about hooking up with two people in the industry. One of them a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, allegedly Meek Mill, and the other artist who performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency. Anywho, what I can tell you is that Usher actually intends to tell his story someday. I mean, I remember there was a time when Usher was on the cover of Essence magazine, and he sort of let it slip that something did go down between him and Diddy. First of all, he was very cool when asked about other things like how he would continue to pursue movie projects, and somewhere down the road a new album and several business ventures. He said, something that you should know about me is that I'm a businessman before I'm anything else. Look at the capabilities of Martha Stewart or Russell Simmons or Sean Puffy Combs or even 50 Cent with G-Unit. Look at what they did with their licensing. This is my opportunity to do the same. Clothing and shoes are kind of the standard nowadays, so I'm trying to figure out how I can come at it from a different angle. But when the talk turned to his time living with P. Diddy, the interviewer said Usher became unsurprisingly restrained, and he said, "I want to save some stuff for my book one day." Who knows? Maybe Usher is planning on talking about how Diddy landed him in the hospital, and many other things he went through in his book for which we are eagerly awaiting.
I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember, Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth.
Again, this whole situation with Diddy is all just rumors. Nothing real until Usher shows us proof. But now, we really need to start asking important questions about how the music business treats its young stars. How many of those mentors, and I put that in quotes, fingers crossed, were really just using those kids? And how many of these big stars are actually just people who survived some really bad stuff happening behind the scenes? Also, are we going to need people like Chilli, who were there from the start, to help tell the truth? Let me know what you think about what she might have seen or what Usher might have told her about Diddy in the comments below.